What is up, everybody? It is me, DevilNeverCry, and we are back today with a video on Vergil in DMC5 SE. In particular, the weapons he'll have access to, because we finally have confirmation that Vergil will have access to more than just the Yamato. As always, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with anything and everything DevilNeverCry and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out when new content drops. So, the footage you're seeing in the background here is taken from a Japanese game show, I believe, where they were teasing their next episode with footage of them playing DMC5 SE, and in particular Vergil, where we finally get a look at his heads-up display as well as some of the weapons he has access to. This has been floating around on Twitter for a while. I've known about this ever since it popped up literally 30 minutes later. My inbox was blowing up, my mentions blowing up. Unfortunately, I was at work. I couldn't just drop a video there and then, but we are doing that now. So of course, Vergil has access to Beowulf. Who would have thought? A lot of people speculated that it would have been some sort of Gauntlets and Greaves weapon, in particular Urizen-based Gauntlets and Greaves system, especially with some of his moves he pulls off in that Mission 17 boss fight. But one that some of us didn't see coming was a spectral version of the Force Edge. Now I say spectral because, as you can see in the heads-up display here, it appears to be blue, as if it is one of Vergil's summoned swords. I guess lore-wise it would make sense, considering that Dante absorbed the Spada to make the Devil Sword Dante, so Vergil had to make do with something else. Some have even speculated that it might be a situation with V's cane being turned into some sort of summoned sword cane amalgamation, but only time will tell. We haven't seen any gameplay of it, we've only seen it pop up on the heads-up display, so who knows, maybe Vergil will have some sort of new moveset with this weapon. But one thing I do find peculiar is the return of Beowulf. I'm not sure if it's going to tie into the story at any point, but it's interesting that Vergil, or Beowulf, is now known, or colloquially known as Vergil's weapon, go-to Gauntlet and Greave weapon, considering that in DevilNeverCry theory he only had it for a few hours before the Mission 13 shenanigans, where he was swept off the side of the Temenigru and Dante got a hold of it. Taking a closer look at the Beowulf footage, we first see Vergil pop off a Kick 13, a move initially from DMC1, obviously transferred onto Vergil in DMC4 Special Edition, and he has it here in DMC5. Though the animation is a bit obscured simply due to the camera position, especially with the enemy being in front of Vergil. And then Vergil goes and pulls off a Lunar Phase, which is very reminiscent of DMC4 Special Edition. The animation isn't like DMC3, where it seemed to have a lot of forward momentum. This just seems to be straight out of DMC4 SE, which I guess this rendition of Vergil takes a lot from 4 SE. It doesn't seem to be based off of his 3 incarnation all too much, which some people might like, some people won't. It all depends on which you prefer. Then we see Vergil pull off a pause combo. Again, this is kind of to be expected. I don't think they would have removed this from his moveset, if anything. But then he ends up finishing the combo with a straight, which I believe in DMC4 was a Dante exclusive move with Gilgamesh, where he charges back up, slightly pauses and dashes forward with a punch. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Vergil didn't have access to this in DMC4 SE. And before I forget, Vergil does actually pull off a trick up early into this footage, which is slightly different to how it worked in DMC4 SE, where you could only pull off that move around an enemy if you were in Devil Trigger. So maybe they've made some slight tweaks to Vergil here, but overall this rendition seems to be very, very similar to how he played in DMC4 SE. Speaking of DevilNeverCry 4 Special Edition, we also get a look at the concentration mechanic in the heads-up display. Now, this was announced way back when DMC5 SE was revealed itself. There was a PlayStation blog post put up which confirmed concentration to be returning in 5 SE. For long story short, the better you play and the less damage you take, and the more calm, cool, collected you play Vergil, you don't miss attacks, you don't run, you don't jump, the concentration bar will begin to rise. Vergil's attacks will have added modifiers to them, they'll be faster, they'll have wider hitboxes, things like that. Basically, everyone knows it colloquially as the motivation bar at this point. But as you can see here, the heads-up display looks very reminiscent to Vergil's Sin Devil Trigger, with a V filling up, V for Vergil, V for the character V, whatever V you're talking about here. But then, looking at the HUD, we can also see a Sin Devil Trigger along with his standard Devil Trigger, which might not seem to be all too out of place or strange at first, but if you think back to the footage we've seen, we've only ever seen Vergil in his Sin Devil Trigger form. Many speculated that he wouldn't have any standard Devil Trigger whatsoever, which, you know, leads into question, will Vergil have a standard Devil Trigger bar, or will that Devil Trigger bar be used for Vergil's doppelganger mechanic, which we've seen footage of in the past? Who knows, that's just some food for thought. And that pretty much brings us to the end of the gameplay analysis for Vergil. You know, there's only so many things I can say about a 20-second snippet of gameplay for Vergil, but I do want to talk about one other thing, and this is a topic I wanted to make a separate video on, but I guess considering the nature of the video in this video, it ties quite nicely into this video, and that is what is going on with the marketing or the promotion of DMC5 Special Edition. It's, what are we, 10 days away from the release of DMC5 SE, and ever since TGS we essentially heard radio silence on this game. If you recall, they'd shown 10 seconds of gameplay for Vergil, most of which we saw pretty much in the trailer for DMC5 SE, the initial reveal trailer, except for that one new move we were to look at, which was pretty sweet. And we have heard nothing since then, despite the fact that they said stay tuned for more stuff or more information. And it's a baffling decision, honestly. I understand from a marketing perspective or from a promotion perspective, you want to keep some things hidden or a surprise for fans, so to speak. Give them something else to look forward to sinking their teeth into, you know, some hidden stuff, some new stuff. But these aren't things that shouldn't necessarily be kept secret. You know, when the majority of the fan base, people thinking about picking up DMC5 SE, are wondering if Vergil will even have access to most of his core moveset. I think that is taking it maybe a little step too far, and even the fact that Capcom themselves didn't even come out and reveal this in like some mini presentation or even on their social media. It had to be from a random third-party influencer, kind of just teasing this somewhat accidentally, I guess. You know, there wasn't a big deal made out about this, and you know, why? It calls into question why. Like, surely it would make sense and would hype people up even more if they knew that Vergil had access to all of this cool stuff. But that's just my opinion on it. It's just a bit of a tangent. You know, I've been thinking about making a video, just wondering like where the hell, like where is this game? What's happening, you know? But I'm glad, I'm hyped that Vergil is getting access to his full moveset, you know. Who knows what's happening with the Force Edge? Perhaps it'll have some new spicy things in it. The Yamato had some new moves. Beowulf here seems to have somewhat of a new move with that straight, at least. But I'm hyped, despite the fact that I was a little bit skeptical that these weapons would be coming to Vergil in the first place. But let me know in the comments down below, are you hyped for Vergil? Are you not hyped? Are you picking up DMC5 Special Edition on next gen, or are you gonna wait it out for December for the Vergil DLC that's going to be dropping a month later? Oh, and a quick shout out to everybody who actually reached out to me about this and blew up my inbox. It's cool to see everybody seeing some new stuff and immediately thinking, oh my god, DNC needs to see this. But if you haven't already joined the Discord, there'll be a link in the description. If you want to get at me on Twitter, there'll be a link in the description to that as well. And with all of that said and done, it has been me, DevilNeverCry. I would like to thank all of you for watching, and as always, I see you all next video.